wait till the night before Christmas to be good.
Okay, welcome. Go ahead, Andy. Play our intro. Of course not. Fran thinks it's too loud.
It's quite loud.
Okay. On today's episode of the podcast, we are each going to give you a 5-minute presentation and convince you which one of us should be your new best friend.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
I am as ready as I can be. Yeah,
Okay, so this is a combination of PowerPoint presentation. Some people are doing speaking, non-speaking. We've elected that Francois is going to go first. I'm going to go second. Andrew will go third. Then we'll get you to vote, and then we will get to know you after that.
Okay, so this is probably easier for you to see because you need to read, but that's about it. So you'll see there.
Fran, best friend video.
Yeah. And this one does need a little bit of volume, but you'll have to just judge.
And none of us know what the others did. Jesus Christ. I'm going to reiterate that none of the other ones.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, there it goes.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh. Fuck. Well, this
This is an interesting direction for this to go.
is really taking a lot of the wind out of my sails here.
Hold on.
Oh.
Why is it doing
Yeah,
that?
I'm gonna play it on my tablet for you.
Okay.
This really takes
Just
a lot
mute
of...
that one, Andy. And then just let it play, though, so the audience can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Do you mind if I play it from the beginning?
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try it.
What an intro to the team here. I'm glad we had Francois go first.
Wait, where's my quick share? No! Did it move? Fuck my life. No, I can't. Fuck.
I think I can get this fixed. 1 second.
That's too bad. I have my phone.
Is it just bogging your laptop down too much kind of thing? Or?
We have it split between the two monitors because we weren't sure what was going to be easier.
Oh, yeah,
to see.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah, that monitor is not. It's just
It's-
easier to read on that one.
Yeah. So you're going to have to, I guess you're in a better position.
I'm
than-
kind of looking anyway.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Easy.
Well, I'm sorry, Fran. This is my fault. It was working perfectly this morning.
It's even a 1080p
Live
video. I made
productions,
sure.
that's how it always goes.
Yeah. We literally tested it this morning,
In
making
your
sure it all
industry, we
worked.
would call this me bombing.
You did steal a little bit from your sister on this one.
I don't think it. Well,
Oh yeah, he's fast.
So far, no disagreements other than the beating.
This is the most artistic thing we've ever done in a decade.
What the fuck is that sound effect in the background? Is what I want to know.
Yeah, is
I
that
thought
one
it
of your
was me
kids? Is
talking
what I
over-
thought it was.
Jeez, that sound effect is fucked. The piss straight, okay?
You know, the cell's piss drain.
I thought it said my kids are pregnant at first.
That sound effect is haunting. I don't like it.
Oh God, somewhere.
I love that it just plays again.
Is this a different colored paper? Or?
Yeah, this is white paper now.
Yeah.
Penis and penis.
I like the strategic underlines. Those are good.
Let's see. Did you draw that?
Okay, that was
Hey. Well,
that was a thing. That was a video.
okay, we'll let Dylan sit with that for a second.
I like how you had belts on your hands and in your mouth. That means that you own more than one belt, which is impressive. It's got me thinking.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that at all.
You're not.
I know. I wasn't expecting that at all. And you might sound my volume's still good here. Okay. Okay. I have a little bit more of a. I'm more of a traditional man. I have a bit more of a traditional presentation. So Andy, if you want to bring mine up and then just slide you there. So I'll just let Andy kind of walk you through this. We've just met. My name's Brad. As you can tell, obviously, I make people laugh. I think that that's something you and I might have in common. I think that Francois did a bit of a job making you laugh. Andy, next slide here. So I'm just going to run through a couple quick 3 things I think are really important and could really help build our friendship. There you can see me sharing drinks with friends. Andy, next slide. So first of all, I love a good cocktail. Any friend you want to have in the prairies, especially during these winter months, you're going to want somebody who really knows knows their way around a cocktail. I think that that's crucial. Slide number 2, sorry. I'm that buddy with a truck. So anybody knows you want to have one of those friends. Anybody needs help moving. I'm constantly helping people out. You need a mattress moved, a couch. I'm definitely your guy. Our third thing here, Andy. So I can actually fit an impressive number of coins in my belly button. Now, a lot of people don't like carrying around change, but actually I hid a number of coins in my belly button.
Jesus Christ.
So, like, if you want somebody to be able to secretly stash, anything, but particularly
Jesus
people hate
Christ.
carrying change around, that is an impressive stack of pennies that I'm able to fit
Those
Sorry,
are
go ahead.
discontinued too,
Yeah,
so
these
you
are
know they've been there for a while.
These are discontinued coins. Can you imagine when I can do a dimes? Those are pennies. They're actually a larger circumference. They're actually a larger circumference than dimes. So just kind of going over those three categories again. I'm versatile. I definitely have a lot of different attributes. I'm helpful in a pinch, but also with long-term strategizing. I think that's important. Andy, next slide, please. I'm a business magnate. I work with Bitcoin. I was in front of the Merrill Lynch building at one point. I think that I think that this is in Baker Avenue in Whitefish, Montana. So I think that's important that you can note that you need any sort of strategic business or financial advice. Obviously Merrill Lynch is a huge name. The office was closed at the time of this photo. And this is actually a friend of mine who's a senior banking advisor at Scotiabank here in this city. So a local and international connections, which I think is obviously huge. Next slide, please, Andy. My friend Kirk once said to me, if I was as passionate about anything as Brad is about everything, I'd be a much better person. And Rhett's a pretty good person. He's got a multimillionaire father. He himself is a pharmacist, and he thinks that I'm quite a bit better than he is. I forgot to change the slide photo out for this one. So this is just a stock photo of a mother with her child that doesn't have anything to do with me. Next slide, please, Andy. A couple facts about me. I have over 5,000 plays in the TouchTunes app. So I think that lets you know what a good time guy I am. That's like $26,000 in plays at bars. So I think I'm actually in the international icon. There's 5 categories for the TouchTunes app. I'm in the top. So I get 2 skip plays. I can skip anybody's song twice, and I can actually see further ahead in the list when people are playing music at the bar. So I think, obviously, I can also run a sub-7. I know Fran talked about his speed. I can run a sub-7 second 40-yard dash. So again, back to that, versatility, athleticism. This is pretty athletic as well. I think that's important. Andy, next slide, please. So I just want to end this by saying I think for anybody in here, if you're really looking for a practical best friend, somebody who can kind of, look out for you, somebody who can provide you with some benefits, people who aren't threatening you to make sure that you choose them, I think that I'm absolutely probably your best choice.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think that's our fun. I don't have anything else, do I? No, that's it. So anyway, that just short and sweet. The belly button gimmick was kind of the key to mine. So thank you very much for your time. Andrew, you don't need this mic for your presentation.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so join us next for Andrew's presentation.
Yeah.
I have a quick question,
of course,
Brad.
please.
Your sub 7 second 40-yard dash, is that with the pennies in or without?
I can actually do it either or. So the
Either
pennies
or.
will add. I'd probably like a 6-7-3 without pennies. That will add some weight and it throws my lean off a bit. So that'll take me to just a sub 7. But no, I can do that.
I will vouch.
I
was gonna say I will vouch for the sub 7 second 40.
And I don't even need you take me to the track the field house on that rubber floor with some real shoes. I could probably go in our 6'5", but I'm talking this is like work boots out in the street. Sub 7 seconds.
It's quite remarkable to see a man of his size do a sub 7 second 40-yard dash. It's
at the drop of a hat.
at the drop of a hat, not
Anytime.
stretched or anything.
Yeah,
just
anytime,
Brad, run.
It's
It's quite
You
remarkable.
don't have to say, okay, get ready. You're born ready.
no. I'm right now. I am in flip flops, and it did
I know.
thaw and then freeze overnight. So that would definitely.
Well, of course, circumstances allowing, right?
Yeah.
But
So, and I've heard lots about Andrew's little presentation. So I think that we should all
lots.
strap
No,
in.
there's
No, I've heard lots. You don't speak
Well,
for me.
unlike my learned colleagues here, I don't need gimmicks. I don't need PowerPoints. I don't need to list a long list of physical attributes. I could sum up why you should pick me in one word. It's that I care. Caring. I care. And really, in my experience with friendship, it's less about me and more about you and getting to know you. And I think there's been a lot of things presented to you in these previous 2 presentations. Really, if I was going to make the case for myself, I think I'm a really good hang. I'm a good drinking buddy. quite a thoughtful person. I think even these two competitors would agree that
I can't.
Yeah, and see,
I can't vouch for Andrew.
And this is what I'm demonstrating here is that the lack of thoughtfulness demonstrated right here before your eyes. So yeah, I don't need the gimmicks. I don't need the threats.
What's that?
Yeah. I think I can stand on my own merit, and I hate to use this phrase, but I'm a vibes guy, and I think it's one of those things where it's like either there's gonna be that synergy, we're gonna vibe or we're not, and whether I do a little presentation or try to list a bunch of attributes that seem to try to pump their own tires. I don't know. I don't need that. I think the decision's already been made, and I don't need the gimmicks. And if anything, I would just say thanks for your time and for coming on the podcast. And it's been a pleasure to get to know you.
Excellent. Well, I think we'll throw it over to you, Dylan. You've seen two very good presentations.
Could we get these stinky pennies cleaned up here?
Why?
I don't really want to touch them. And they're kind of like all around me.
They're fine.
Yeah.
I'll keep them over here.
This tablecloth is brand new, and look at the damage we've already done to it.
in 5 episodes. So I don't want to put you on the spot, Dylan, but I'm going to. Why don't you give us maybe a rating, a score, and then pick your favorite and why?
Okay, a rating and a score. I'm gonna say, Fran. I really like the work that went into that, like to get actually kidnapped and
I wasn't involved in that
to
part.
find. Like, I'm assuming you brought the marker in your cavity somewhere. Like,
I keep that.
assuming they wouldn't leave that.
Keisters, constant keisters.
Keeps it ready. That takes dedication, and that's something that I look for in a friend. Someone who will get a little bit crazy. That's high on my list right there. I'm gonna give an 8 out of 10.
Oh wow.
That's like it's really good.
I appreciate that. It was all under duress, so.
Yeah, that's pretty good under duress.
Yeah. Where Brad, your presentation to actually have, like, if you would have had a clicker in your hand, you'd be higher. I'm telling you that right now. The fact that you had to have Andy switch each slide for you brings you down a little bit.
Yeah,
because
understandable.
as I'm like, I'm going to be used as a clicker at some point in this relationship.
I like you're thinking about this on a. That's it.
Yeah.
But that penny thing, like, some pennies are worth quite a bit of money.
I had
so
to put those
who
in
knows
at like
what's
10
in
o'clock this morning
there.
to hide that from everybody. So I went upstairs to retape. They were starting to fall out while I was sitting there. I had to go retape.
I see.
So you've got copper poisoning.
But I mean, look,
It's like, why is there?
there's 3 or 4 more there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, we're talking 10 plus.
10 cents in pennies. Like,
I could put $1 in dimes in there or more.
That's yeah.
I pay for parking for like 40 minutes.
That'll come in handy when you go to jail eventually. And
it's very validating that you just said that.
Smuggling that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that you mentioned the jail thing. That's very just to the context of this friendship. That's very, very validating.
Constant theme.
Yes.
You're a guy with the truck. I'm a guy with the truck. So like, I am that friend already. So, but if I could like pawn off some of my trucking to you, that would be very valuable to me. You know, because then I look like a hero and I don't have to do anything.
Right.
It's kind of nice. I like that. Yeah. Geez, I've got to give it a 7.8.
Close. Okay.
It's
okay.
close.
That's
It's close.
Yeah.
That's fair.
If you had a clicker, I'd be 8.2 for sure. I'll tell you right now.
Sorry, Andy.
And Andrew, I'm a visual learner.
I knew that would dock me some points. I put it out there, and I thought, come at it in a genuine way, but I knew that I was taking a risk not going with a visual flair. So
if you
I
had
understand
like
the
a
docking.
cooler beer behind you or something, and you like pulled out another beer, maybe that might have put you over the top. But I'm gonna say 7.7, just because
that's fair. That's totally
no
a fair
visuals.
point. Yeah,
Yeah, as long as I beat Andrew.
that's fair. No,
now-
I think that's very reasonable.
Now, you didn't know this going in. You didn't know anything
Oh
going in.
shit!
You've actually awarded Francois a small pizza of his choosing for our 12th and final episode. So congratulations, Francois.
Yeah,
So
Fran's
wait,
pizza
who got
party.
the first pizza?
Fran.
So this is 2?
Holy, it's gonna
Yeah.
be pizzaed out.
Didn't we give out a pizza already?
Did we give a pizza?
Yeah, to Fran.
What?
He won the trivia.
Oh,
Oh, is that also pizza?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Fran actually is now entitled to 2 small pizzas of his choosing for the 12th episode.
So, Fran, are you gonna give one of your pizzas away
I doubt.
Just give it away to.
He's a
to
one of
to
them.
someone else since you have 2 pizzas now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
He's a
Oh,
very selfless-
holy shit! He gets to keep his pizza because I was gonna switch. I was gonna flip flop.
lover.
If you're selfish,
Just for a little bit of context with the pizza, we did the podcast for a decade and scattered throughout 100+ episodes 4 or 5 times.
I'd also like to mention that 2 bombs didn't just go off.
That's true.
That's
that also factored in.
My stomach has been in knots.
Well, you would think so. You're 4 or 5 hours out of surgery.
That's my gallbladder.
I was just gonna say, so yeah, scattered 4 or 5 times throughout the a decade of podcasting, we gave out, how do we call it? Vouchers?
they were entries into a
draw to win a pizza party.
between the 3 of us.
And then after a decade, I think there were 4 draws, one of which was given to a random person. Andrew had 3 draws. Francois had 1, I had 1, and then
No, I had 2.
2, and I had 1.
No, yeah, I had 2. You had 1. Alex had 1, and then Andrew had 3 or 4. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
and-
Yeah.
So we scrubbed back through all the episodes, put them on transcript mode, and searched for pizza, and looked up who gave the draws because we had completely forgotten. All right, well, thank you for indulging us in our gimmick.
Yeah.
I love being fought over. I feel like the bell with the ball.
Good.
I
That was
do-
our
yeah,
intention.
I
That
I
was
do
our
want to
like
intention.
apologize to
the
both Francois
only
and the
takeaway.
viewers that the screen splitting failed you, even though you still won. So I think that's even more of a commendation of your efforts.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if the video would have hit harder last. Like I don't know. Like I made sure that the wording was very careful so that you could watch at the beginning and it would still contextually make sense. That's why everything was worded as "you will be" or
They will
they will be"
Yeah.
or whatever.
They will
Yeah.
mislead.
I think it
Yeah.
worked best first. Honestly, it like took the wind out of
It's just very avant-garde is the only thing, and it's a weird one. It's like you almost want. It's like I wish there was a 4th, very standard. Like what do they call it in science? You have a control. Like we should have had a control PowerPoint that was very standard at the beginning, and then it's like,
I full disclosure, I was like spent like a couple hours trying to think of like trying to make a presentation. I'm like nothing was driving, nothing was working, and it was like midnight, and I'm like, I think I'm better just like off the cuff, and then
earnestness,
and then and then you came in with yours, and it kind of my plan was to really lean into like these guys have their gimmicks, and then you came in with like it was a gimmick, but it was like
Hot eat.
very very tough to combat on my toes here. So
Okay, Fran, if you want to do the intro.
Oh yes, I guess we technically haven't done the intro. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 12 Podcasts of Christmas, the 11th edition, 11th annual. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Francois Nation,
I'm Andrew Sorsdahl.
I'm William Sonoma.
and we have a special guest with us today.
Dylan Jay Williamson. I
Okay,
don't know why I said it like that, but yeah.
Dylan Jay Williamson, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast. Would you mind telling our viewer a little bit about yourself?
Hey, Dave. Good to see you out there. I'm Dylan Williamson. I'm one of the owners. Well, I'm the husband of the owner of Art Bar. Is technically what I am, and Art Bar is a new, smaller live performance venue in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. So it's hopefully gonna fill the void for bands who can't get over 100 people to come and see them, and become the new hotspot for comedy in the city.
So tell us a little bit about what the origin of Art Bar and the, how that's come together so far, and what the vision is for Art Bar.
Yeah, well, for The origin of Art Bar, me and my wife are comedians, and we.
Very good comedians.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
We've seen them perform.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've only seen you perform once, but that was
Yeah, it was
very
awesome.
funny. Yeah.
Well, thanks. We've been doing comedy for over a decade, and we've lived in bigger centers in the country. Like I've lived in Vancouver and Toronto, and in those bigger centers, there's always kind of these small venues that are cheap for producers to put on shows and to get experimental, and for people to get a little bit weird and really explore performance. And Saskatoon never had anything like that. So we've been, ever since I moved back to Saskatoon, I was like, Saskatoon needs a place like this, you know, some place that people can put on a weird show and they don't have to worry about losing $600 if it doesn't go, you know?
And we don't really have like a primarily comedy focused venue, really. Like we have places that host open mics here and there, but and I guess there is technically Yuck Yucks or whatever, or what that place converts into Yuck Yucks.
There wasn't a real club
no.
in Saskatoon, but now our space is. It feels like a club, it runs like a club, and even though we don't have comedy every day of the week necessarily, when we do have comedy on, it is for no better term for it, it is a comedy club, because even the Yuck Yuck satellite here, it's a banquet hall that has comedy one night a week. So it's not, it's got the comics that a comedy club has, but it doesn't have the everything else, you know?
Yeah.
There's a special vibe. There's a special atmosphere to the whole thing, and I think that, I mean, I haven't been in a tremendous amount of comedy clubs, but I've seen lots of video of.
I'm actually curious. What do you? Oh, sorry, you finished and then I'll.
No, I was just saying from everything that I've seen, there are consistent markers that kind of tell you and give you
to
a
have
feel
the
for what
low ceiling, close seats. Like we have a brick background, which is like cliche, but
I love it.
People love it.
It works. It's
And the main thing is just having a really dark room where people are seated close, good lighting, good sound, and just like the staff treating it correctly, and like there's lots of like little things that go into it that when you put them together, it makes everything way funnier. Is if you have like if something's just off in the room, everyone can feel it, and then they don't laugh as hard, and then everyone doesn't laugh as hard. Like I've been in a room where there's been really funny comics, but nothing seems funny because
it's like that.
Everything's off.
It's like a snowballing momentum, and like if you're in the right mindset, then you know you can work the room obviously a little bit easier. I'm sure.
Yeah, and if you have the energy, it's way funnier, or like way easier to be funny if you got the energy coming back at you, as opposed to just like trying to pull this audience along with you. You know?
Yeah, it's already so challenging to be funny to strangers. Like that's already like that's the hurdle that you want to contend with, right? And it's like if you have to also be fighting against bad lighting, people talking and being loud. There's a group there that nobody, you know what I mean? Like all these other factors, and it's like, you fucking whatever. I'm chained here behind my fucking. Help me out here as much as you can. Whatever.
Yeah, when you're trying to like compete against VLTs for people's attention, you know, it's not ideal. So that's what our space is hopefully going to be, and we've been doing some like kind of weirder shows that wouldn't really be able to happen anywhere else, just because it's nowhere else is built for it here. You know.
How long have you guys been open for?
We've just been open since the beginning of October. We had a couple of soft launch events before that, but October was when we opened the doors for being open 6 days a week kind of thing. So
okay, awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. So
where is it specifically in Saskatoon? Sorry,
it's on 20th Street between B and C. So it's right beside Doug's Spoken Sport, where the old 9 Mile Brewery is.
Oh yeah, okay.
So basically, their old tap room is now our front of house.
You took over 9 Miles Tap Room.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was taken over, and then you probably told me, and I just completely forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, and then where they used to brew the beer, we've gutted it and painted it completely black and put a stage and a brick wall, and now it's
That's
like
a
a
really
sweet
good
little,
space for that. That's smart.
Yeah, it's like perfect for it. So
I was super impressed because like we met there. That's where I actually went and had a drink and got to chat with Dylan a little bit and got a tour of the venue. And it's super exciting that there's something like that in Saskatoon now, I think. And I follow you guys on social media, and seeing how many days you have open mics as well is like a really like encouraging thing, I think, for a lot of people who are wanting to just get out there and perform and, like you said, kind of experiment. I think that's an important resource that helps foster a scene. When it's like you have open mics maybe once a week or once every other week, it's really tough to get momentum and start improving as a performer, I think. So having that steady, that venue where there's an open mic consistently at least once a week, you can go, get up, perform. Maybe it's only to a couple people, but at least the stage is there and open for you.
yeah,
That's a really cool thing, I think.
yeah, it's that's like so vital for stand up, especially, is just having open mics to try out stuff and workshop stuff and just get those reps in, because that's kind of what it is. You have to
Excuse me.
do a joke 20 times to figure out what its form is and how it works best. And
Yeah, we got I've got three friends who are all like very passionate about stand-up comedy. They're not comedians themselves. Well, I guess it depends on what you classify. I don't know how many shows you got to do to like be a comedian or whatever. I guess it's like they say with filmmakers, like start calling yourself a filmmaker and then you'll be a filmmaker or whatever. But people who are very passionate about comedy who have done just open mics and stuff. And I remember one of my friends, they asked me like, could you come film my set, because I want something to be able to point people to that if they ask, he wants to do something eventually. He wants to be a comic or whatever. That's a passion of his. And like I went to this open mic, and it was so because like you said, it's like these open mics are like kind of few and far in between. It's already like he's got to take time off work, so he's only got the one. Like it's not a thing that's very easy for him to do. He can't just go to an open comedy mic. It's got to be his schedule has to line up with his schedule, because it's this once a week or once a month thing. And anyway, so we went and filmed it and stuff, and it was just like, man, it would be so nice if there was a more regular open mic, that it's like you could go in a month, let's say, you could go maybe try out twice, and then once you're like, I'm a little more comfortable, come film on the third time that I go do my whatever open mic thing. And I agree. That seems shitty to me right now, up until now. The way that it's existed in Saskatoon is if you were passionate about comedy and you wanted to like get the experience, because like I feel with any artistic venture, you don't get good at it without just fucking doing it again and again and again and again and again and figuring it out. And in Saskatoon, up until this point, it's been hard to just do it regularly, because like there's some places that will only do once a month, or they'll do once a week at best or whatever. And it's like, that's tough. That's got to be tough to contend with. And they don't want you probably twice in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? They're not gonna, dependent on what their schedule's like, they're not going to book you. They're not going to be like, you can't come here every single week necessarily. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
so yeah.
Well, for the comedy open mics, we do want everyone every week.
Yes.
Because that's just part of the process, and we want to see people working on their jokes and see the little tweaks that they're making, like the little progress that they're doing, and like that's kind of the excitement for us, like as comics, is seeing like everyone's little tweaks, because you get really nerdy about it, and you kind of like you get into people's jokes, and after you've seen it 20 times, you're like, oh, they switched this word, or like,
And
just
seeing
like
how that
little
impacts
tweaks
it.
that you see that make it a little bit funnier, or he had an act out and it completely changed the joke, or whatever it is, So it's that is kind of like the special sauce for comics who are watching, because we have to watch a lot of open mic comedy, just being at open mics,
Right.
and it could get stale if people aren't trying stuff and stretching themselves, and, working on the craft of it.
So I guess it's also probably exciting then to see someone new try it out, just as a,
that's the
hey,
best.
I've never seen this guy before,
Yeah,
like
the best
good or
is
bad.
like people doing it for their first time, is half the time they just they have a rough set, but the other half they like have a great set, and you just see them like flying
Yeah.
after. They're just so buzzed. But people don't realize that if your first set is good or bad, it doesn't make a difference. Like
You gotta
your
just
next
kinda-
set isn't going to be what your first set is.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people will have a really crazy amazing first set and then just eat it for like 2 months after.
Right, for sure.
You know, like, it's not like every set is created equal
Yeah.
for how funny it is, you know.
Well, I think like the overall appetite and the exuberance for stand-up comedy seems to be kind of hitting a peak right now because you've got all this like Kill Tony, Rogan, Theo Vaughn, like Shane Gillis, like it's perpetrating everything, and like they're on mainstream media and all that sort of thing. So I think that it's kind of getting people into stand-up comedy that maybe necessarily weren't all that into it before, or weren't watching specials, or feeling like they should venture out to their local comedy club and check out some stuff. So I think it's definitely an awesome time for it, and it's nice to see something like that locally. I like when Saskatoon is of a certain size where if we're going to keep growing, we need to bring in stuff that other big cities have, like comedy clubs, and like someday I'd like us to have our own like dueling pianos bar kind of stuff, like that next level of entertainment that the city is a little bit is just on the precipice of. Like we're just not like at like high-end bars and restaurants. We need to get to that next stuff to do.
And we're such a creative city as a whole. I think it's one of the things I love about Saskatoon is that there's the music scene, the art scene. Like if you're outside of Saskatoon and you say, "Oh, Saskatoon's got a great like cultural arts and culture scene," people would be like, "What are you like Saskatoon? What are you talking about?" But if you're here, you know that these people exist and they're like there's some great talent across the board. So
Yeah, and that's I think why people wouldn't know Saskatoon is a very culturally, like, creatively diverse and vibrant city is because a lot of artists from other cities or other provinces never make it here, so they don't even unless we're touring out to them, and then they're like, "Oh, that band that from Saskatoon was awesome. We should go and do another show with them sometime." The bands from other cities or the comics from other cities never see our talent just because it's hard for a lot of touring acts to justify making a stop here, just because it is kind of the middle of nowhere. Like as far as a touring map goes.
well, especially if they're more independent and you're limited, your resources are limited with the tour, you're going to stick to
number
the tour.
one highway and
or if like you're in Alberta, like if you go west towards Vancouver, you're going to have a way easier road map than if you're going east to Winnipeg,
And even then, it's like if you're going east, you're probably going to start in Winnipeg or maybe Regina, but probably Winnipeg, and go east towards Ontario, where all the major population is. So
so like there is that aspect of it, and that's one of the things that we're trying to do with Art Bar is just give touring comedians or musicians another stepping stone to go somewhere else even, and we're trying to, one of our goals for this year is to try and build out a kind of a tour for comics anyway, where they can hit up a small center in Saskatchewan on a Thursday, hit up Art Bar on a Friday or a Saturday, and then hit up Regina on the other night, and like kind of make it a little bit of a
leg, like a mini tour, or like
a little leg of a tour, so that instead of just flying to Winnipeg, they're like, "Oh, let's take these three shows."
I really do. Like, I mean, I come from like rural Saskatchewan, and I think that we are especially seeing jobs that we go to more and more interest and expression in needing to see the arts in the rural communities, especially for younger people. And like, if they don't keep some sort of art and culture in the community, then they're losing younger people. So there's really a focus for that sort of thing. And I do genuinely think that sort of idea of building like a mini tour kind of thing, if you could reach out and coordinate with larger rural centers, you could fill rooms and make money for sure. Like these people, like
they're starved
doing
for
fundraisers
anything.
and stuff like that. Like it'd be a great way to get out, and like you might have some tough crowds out that way. But I mean, if your stuff sticks, I think you could, and you'd build like a
name for yourself.
Well, and that kind of, I think the difference between that kind of show and maybe playing a city show is you come back from a city show and you go, "Oh, that was really good. I'm glad we went out." you come back from like a starved rural show, it's like get their poster and follow them on the internet, and this person is my everything now because I saw them live, and that was the coolest
And they
thing in
made the
world.
trip out to like,
Yeah.
they made the trip to like, they didn't mention it. They're both from Caberry, Saskatchewan.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
it's kind of my neck of the woods.
Oh really?
I'm from Pontex, so
Oh really?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we both grew up in the Cambridge area.
Okay,
So
sweet.
yeah, you know exactly what it's like. We were just out at the Station Arts Center out in Rostern, and like they've got an amazing facility there. Like if somebody did a stand-up show in their
oh,
auditorium,
I bet you they would get. They would.
They'd
It's a
kill.
little. Have you heard of Station Arts Center? Have you?
No,
checked
I
it out?
haven't.
So-
I'll have to put
We-
that on my list
we
of
just
places
did
to.
a promo for it, but they have like a beautiful train station that they've totally renovated, and they do like they have like a coffee and
Craft
craft
beer.
beer bar and like little meals and like a sitting area, and then they've got like a beautiful light and sound like it
A little theater. Yeah.
Have you ever been to the May Wilson in Moose Jaw, the May Wilson Theater?
I haven't. but-
Okay, it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's basically like if you took TCU and just shrunk it way down. Like it's like
Oh, yeah, so it's like that level
20
of-
rows of seating.
150 people,
Yeah.
I think.
But
that
it's like a
quality.
nice stage with like a back area and a green room and like a sound booth and a lighting setup
their
and stuff.
green room is actually like a lot
Crazy.
better than a lot of the places in the city. Like
Yeah.
it's like there's like 2 separate rooms and then there's a washer. I was like, this is way better than most places in the city.
Yeah, so like the lady there, Nicole, that we worked with, they're always looking for bands and stuff and artists to come through. So
And just diverse. Their whole thing is similar to what Art Bar is trying to do. They want to just provide diverse cultural opportunities for the residents and surrounding area. And I think they probably sell out just about every show, I think.
it actually really now, like kind of on this topic a little bit more. We have ironically worked with so many people in rural communities just because of the business type that we are and the travel and like promoting those sorts of things. And we have a rural connection, so that helps us. And we have dealt with people in different communities who are basically pushing the same mission or have a like-minded focus or a similar facility or a similar mission statement who don't know each other exist. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like this is basically like you have this. There's a woman in Herschel, Saskatchewan, who has like this beautiful retreat home where you can like book it, and then we'll like go to a different part of the province, and it's another lady who's basically the same facility, and they have the same mission and focus for the same area. But like, we should really work more on connecting those people together because they can be sharing ideas and they're not competing with each other, so that's really nice.
Yeah, just network since, they aren't going to get the same clientele
Yeah.
because of their location.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think that's an awesome mission. Do you do you have like any clubs in specific that you're like modeling yourself after or inspiration?
Yeah, there's kind of 3 different clubs that we kind of wanted to emulate, and the first one is Comedy Bar in Toronto. They're this awesome comedy club. They're in the basement, and they have 3 different spaces. There's like the main room, and then there's the side room, and then there's this third room that's like usually just drinking, but they could do a show there as well. And they always they have the same kind of model where people can rent out the space for like $150 or whatever it is for a time slot and put on whatever kind of comedy show or sketch show or improv show they want. And so like that's kind of like the comics home away from home in Toronto. So like whenever we're in Toronto, we know if we go to Comedy Bar, there's going to be some kind of show going on, and there's going to be comics hanging out, drinking, mingling, just kind of like if we have a show somewhere else, we'll go to Comedy Bar after just to hang out with people. It's
kind
like
of a known entity.
it's a known entity, and it's like a comics like ground zero hub, which is like awesome. And that's just kind of, it's the community of like stand up is pretty small, and that's kind of the beauty of it is you can go to this one spot and someone's going to be there. Like you don't have to check their socials, someone is going to be there, you know.
Right, yeah, of course.
Or like someone's got this show also in the city, they're going to end up there. That's where people go. So Comedy Bar is my wife's favorite club probably in the country, just because that's where she always hangs out, and she's on the road a lot by herself, so she just heads to a comedy bar and hangs out. Another venue that we kind of emulated it after is there's Grindstone Theater in Edmonton, and it's pretty much exactly like Art Bar. Their stage is a little bit more geared towards theater and that kind of thing than ours. So they've got like a little bit higher end production, but it's like the exact same premise. We stole so many ideas from them.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's sharing ideas.
Yeah. And we,
if it works, it works.
and Byron, the owner, he helped us a lot, just like pointing us in the right direction of like what we should do for food. And like they've got a bistro at Grindstone, and I was like, should we even like bother with like a big kitchen? Or like, he's like, no, if I could have gone around it, I'd have a small kitchen, like no kitchen. And so that's what we do. We just have black pepper pizza, which satisfies people who are hungry, but it's not like a destination for food because there's good restaurants all around us. So
Yeah, I know.
you're not
like, if you
trying
want
to-
if you want a really good meal, you go to like Odd Couple or Bistro and B.
Yeah.
They're like half a block from us, And then the third spot that we really took a lot of inspiration from is Little Mountain Gallery in Vancouver. It's like I used to live like a couple blocks away from it on Main Street, and it was this like grungy, like rat's nest of electrical kind of like shitty building, and it had the coolest like indie shows. And how they used to run it is you could rent it for like $50 if the venue got to keep the beer sales, or you could rent it for $150 and you'd sell your own beer. So like whichever you thought would make you more money, and they just had like a cooler of beer to
That's cool.
that. So it was like super super lo-fi, and it was like the funniest comedy shows I've ever seen were in that room, just people being weird and really stretching themselves, and it's
Yeah.
cool.
So what is what's a week of programming look like for you guys? Like, when are you doing your open mics? When are people booked in specifically?
Yeah, well, for our bar, basically Sundays we've got 2 open mics every week. We've got at 7 p.m. we've got poetry, 9 p.m. we have stand up, and then and the stand up one is put on by Full Metal Comedy. They're a couple guys who have been put on shows in the city for 7 years
That's
or so.
a great name.
Yeah, Full Metal Comedy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They also have a show every other Thursday at Black Cat, so it's kind of
That's another
got
cool
metal
venue.
feel. Yeah, another cool venue. Love it at Black Cat, but we've done like a lot of shows there too over the years. And Mondays is our off day. Then Tuesdays we've got alternating shows depending on the week. So on every even Tuesday, it's Gold Star Trivia, which is a sapphic entertainment production. So it's geared towards the sapphic community, so lesbian and gay and bi community. And it's a trivia night put on by like a drag queen, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then the other Tuesdays is the Comedy Pit, which is clean comedy. So it's a clean comedy show, and it's got like a big following. It used to be in Hudson's, and
Interesting.
they switched over to us because the room at Hudson's was like a little bit not built for comedy. So
Yeah, that's
No,
it's a weird. It's weird the things they try to do out of Hudson's. Like it's,
yeah, like
yeah, it's an odd venue.
I get it. I get trying to do stuff out of Hudson's just because they've got the space, but they're also like they usually have like 5 things going on at one night.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
it's a busy place. So, and they've got they have to be busy because they must have insane rent and
yeah, no.
Oh yeah.
their
And
staff and everything. So
I guess it's a good location in terms of where it is in the city too. It's very
yeah,
traffic,
it's like
yeah.
right downtown, and they do well. But they've moved over to Art Bar, which is great for us because It's like an awesome show on a Tuesday, and it's well produced and has funny comics that are local, and it's clean comedy for people who don't like dirty stuff, and it's good. And then Wednesdays we've got 2 open mics. We've got the Pot of Gold queer open mic at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays, and it's like anything that you want to do. Is if you're queer, you can do music, drag, poetry, stand up, anything. You could stand up there and draw. I don't know, whatever you want to do.
Whatever floats your boat kind of thing. Yeah.
Play a tambourine. And then at 9 p.m. on Wednesdays is Comedy Lab, which is stand-up mic again. And then Thursdays, starting this new year, we've got improv being taught by Black Box Theater, our Black Box Academy. And it's like teaching people how to do improv. And a lot of people think that improv is like something that you just inherently know how to do, but it's like you have to learn it. There's like a language to it, and there's like, it's one of the art forms that you need lessons, otherwise you'll never know how it works.
Yeah.
So they're going to be
Michael
teaching
Scott.
how to not shoot everyone in the opening scene. So they're going to be teaching improv and then doing improv jams on Thursdays for us. So
Cool.
So we're really excited for that. And then Friday, Saturdays is just main stage shows. Usually is a stand-up show in there, and then either music or whatever.
And just whoever you guys book, or whoever books in to do
whoever
a show.
is touring through or books in. And on those nights, if we don't have anyone booked in, like 2 weeks out or whatever, we'll just put on any kind of random show that we feel is like will fill that void, you know?
Is it, like, what would you say in your opinion, like what kind of a roster do we have for local, like, regular comedians, like people who are confident to get up and book like their own set on stage?
Like
have we got 50
bookable?
people here? Yeah.
I'd say we probably have 20 comics that are like at a level that I'd feel confident hiring them to at least middle.
Yeah.
So to at least do 20 minutes kind of thing. We probably have 20, maybe 30, but like
Probably fluctuates a
the
little
20 to 30 is, and we probably have 10 comics that I think could do a headlining set that
Because
I'd
it's
feel
tough.
comfortable.
It's tough to get to that level. It's not
Yeah.
like you're
A solid 20
you're
minutes
years
is-
in
yeah.
to getting to that point,
Yeah,
right?
it's it usually takes like probably 2 or 3 years to become a middle.
Yeah.
Some people do it way faster. They're just naturally gifted, or they smarter workers, or whatever it is. But yeah, usually it takes 2 or 3 years before you can be a middle, and then probably 5 to 8 years to be a headliner.
Yeah, that's
I'd
crazy.
say.
It's like got a medical degree.
It's very interesting. The clean comedy in the audience for that is very interesting to me, just because I don't have anything against clean comedy, but that's just so not, like, in my mind, that trend is dying. Like, it seems like people are way more open to, and like is clean like PG-13 or like PG? Would you say when they say clean?
It depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
But I'd say like clean comedy, I'd consider to be PG-13, kind of like no swears, no drug use, but sexual innuendo usually.
Yeah.
Like
could you get away with ass, or is that like no way in a clean show?
you'd probably not use the word ass, but you probably could. Like I consider clean comedy something that you'd be okay watching beside your corporate boss, or like if your corporate boss paid for the show, you'd be okay with it.
So like Jackass might be okay if someone said like acting like a Jackass.
Yeah.
That's probably like as spicy as you'd get.
Yeah,
as they say.
like if you could say the joke in the office.
In the office.
Yeah.
And not have HR called on you.
I get the crowd. Like my dad is somebody who like for him, I don't know why this is his thing, but like swearing really puts him off some stuff, especially like really again and again and again and again. Like if somebody's dropping the F-bomb every 4 seconds, like it'll ruin a movie for him. It'll ruin a whatever for him. He's just like, this is totally like in his head. He's like, this is unnecessary. This isn't further this whatever. So for him, like he'd love like, cause obviously like everybody likes to laugh. So like being able to go and laugh, and he doesn't have to that thing that bothers him to the point where it'll ruin a show or it'll ruin a movie or something. Like, yeah, I definitely know people who are fit that crowd. You know what I mean?
And some people just, they don't want to like feel uncomfortable because someone said something weird, or like there's lots of people
fair.
who are less voyeuristic with their entertainment. You know,
No, I think so. I think that's a pretty harmless.
I'm just the exact
crowd
opposite.
To cater to,
I'm just the exact like I the more extreme the better for me personally. I'm obviously not everybody. I'm not definitely shouldn't be gearing your entire show towards one person's sensibilities, obviously. But what would you say is something that would like surprise be like the most surprising thing about the Saskatoon comedy scene for someone like on the outside?
Like just how successful a lot of the comics are in the scene. Like we've got probably like 4 or 5 comics who are on TV shows like regularly. Like there's 3 comics that make their own TV show that's on network TV here, and then another comic is on Acting Good out of Winnipeg, and my wife Dakota, she's on a whole bunch of TV shows. But like per capita, like per how big our scene is, we're probably the most successful scene as far as like getting on sitcoms and stuff of any scene. Like we probably have more people on sitcoms than Edmonton scene.
Right.
You know?
Wow.
Wow.
And now that's mean they're more than ours, triple our size.
Yeah, they have 1 million people in their city, and their scene is huge compared to ours because they've been fostering
it's like our
this kind of thing.
province with the hockey.
Yeah. Like
Would you say that like a big part of that Edmonton scene and how big it is that there's an appetite as an audience to go to these open mics? And because like one thing I see a lot with open mics, music or comedy that I've been to, is it seems like it's more than 50% like people who are going up to perform, and then like a smaller number of audience members. But if you go to like whatever, I know you can't compare it, it's apples to oranges, but like you go to New York City or you go to like some of the major centers, there are people at the open mic to consume. Like they're not there to perform, they're there to see the open mic. And do you think that's just like a matter of the scene building up that as a like people know they can go and see good content at an open mic, or is it just that there's a different culture around it? Or
I think like for like New York specifically,
I mean that's a
it's,
I know it's
a lot of it is mainly because there's so much talent in that city because people go there to be someone.
That's
so
fair.
like
it's a bit of an
noob
outlier.
who's just starting, who just moved to New York, was a killer in Toronto, you know?
Yeah.
And then they're like a guppy in New York, and then they have to like
Start
they
the
have to
journey
do
over
some
again.
open mics just to work on their stuff because they can't get on booked shows right off the get-go because no one knows who they are. They're from Toronto or whatever.
It doesn't seem like a industry where you can. Well, some guys probably can rest on their laurels, but it does kind of seem like the thing where it's like you can't really ever take for granted that like you're funny, because like I've seen way too many comedy specials where it's like, this is not fucking funny, and you are very famous, and you obviously think that you're very funny, and you have now stopped trying to a degree, and it's like you need to go back to school and go back to you need to try this material more because like this is not funny.
Yeah, there are that is like a problem with comedy being in a bit of a boom, is that people who have a famous name sometimes will put out a comedy special when they haven't been working on it, you know?
Right.
Like,
and even people who aren't like traditionally stand-ups, just they have a famous name, who are like, oh, now how can I make money, or how can I what's the next evolution of my influencer career? I'm gonna start doing stand-up.
Exactly.
And they get a draw because they have a name, but is the product that they're putting out there even as good as like a middler in
Yeah,
your average city? Probably not.
But you know, you can get away with a lot if someone came there specifically for you. Like even if you aren't that good at stand up, if someone knows you from like YouTube or something, they like you, so they're gonna give you a lot of rope to hang yourself with. Like, you can, like,
That's a good point.
But man, it's like the almost the antithesis of that is true. I'm not gonna say who. This is a famous person. Doesn't matter if I call. But anyway, so I watched this. This was a couple months ago. I watched a comedy special, and it was so bad. Like, and to be fair, like personal taste, but it's like me and my girlfriend were watching, and we have different tastes, and neither of us were just like we have not laughed one fucking time in this special. And at the end, I'm like, I will never watch another one of his specials. Like because this was so bad, beginning to end, I have no interest in seeing this person like do anything now. And it was like, that sucks, man. You phoned it in for this one, and now you've
tainted the well.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to see you anymore. Like it's rough.
That sucks. Yeah, but you know, some people need to make alimony payments or whatever.
That's the other thing with comedy, I think, is like, bad comedy is really bad. Like there's not really a lot of middle of the road when it comes to like a special or whatever. Like either it hits for you or it
guitar
doesn't.
and have a decent enough voice. You can not embarrass yourself, and you don't need the room, like you said. You command the space when you have a band, because nobody else can hear anybody else doing anything, and you're not looking for that reaction.
Not in the same way.
And I mean, some bands don't want a reaction, but comedy, like, you need that.
Yeah, like comedy is a conversation. You aren't dictating it to the audience. The audience is a part of it. So whether like they might not be saying responses to you, but they're giving you something. And if the audience isn't there, then it's a one-sided conversation. It's not going to be good, you know. And sometimes people record specials, and you can just tell that the room that they're in was fucking dead.
Yeah.
No,
it's like rough. But then, but normally people who are doing specials, they'll have a couple nights just in case one of the rooms is not there for them, or they screw up somehow and they lose them right away, or whatever it is. Like, good comics can get them back to a degree, but it's you can just get audiences that just don't like you for some reason.
That night too.
Something happens, you know.
Something just on that night that's just like, for whatever reason, they're not feeling it. You're not feeling the vibe they're putting out, and now you have a room that's like, and especially if you're paying money to put out a big special to promote your career, the last thing you want is to have to rely on one night, one room, and like hope and pray that they are really feeling it that night, and there's going to be that positive exchange. And
man, nothing is I shouldn't say nothing, but like if you see a comic live, or you see a special or whatever, live usually, but it's like, and I don't know, I guess it could be either they've had this joke slay before, or their expectation is like, to them, they're like, I know this joke is world class, like everyone's gonna be laughing, and they're expecting a certain response, like a very specific response, and they don't get that response, and it just fucking totally derails. Like, they're like, oh, every ounce of confidence I had coming up here, it is gone. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. This was my joke. And it's like, now it's like, yeah, but their set's still going on for another 10 minutes. It's like, oh, fuck.
This was my parachute. And, now I have this corkscrew into the ground.
I feel like, and I've heard this, somebody said this to me before, but like, especially early in your comedy career, is like playing golf when you're bad, and it's like you play 18 holes of golf for the one shot that you did that was so good, and you're like, I'm the greatest golfer who ever lived, and you're like so pumped up, and then it's like, well, whatever, if I just bomb 50 other shows, or like 2 months worth of shows, you're always looking for that little punch. That is what comedy is like, because once you get better at comedy, you have to have a certain level of success for it to feel like a win, you know? Like, once you get good, then like a little laugh on a joke doesn't feel like like a success, you know?
It's like, I wanted more of a reaction, more of a laugh.
You need to be absolutely killing for it to feel like a win, you know?
Yeah.
And that's yeah, that keeps you honest though too. It's like, or if you've been doing a certain set for long enough and you're kind of sick of the jokes yourself, but you're trying to keep it fresh, do little tweaks on it. If you can, you have to like really kill with the joke that you've done forever, because you know where every laugh should go. And if you don't get those little laughs that you know should be at different spots, then it feels like
The punchline
Throws you
like,
off.
yeah, it feels like that joke bombed, even though the audience is like, that was a really funny joke, but it
Yeah.
wasn't quite as good as it normally is. You know.
You pause for laugh, no laugh comes.
Yeah, there's-
Yeah.
I imagine there's nothing quite
This
as
is embarrassing.
there's nothing quite as bad as a comic as someone, rather than laughing, just in their head being like, "That was funny."
Yeah.
Like not giving you that reaction. It's like, well, like every joke is like, "Oh yeah, this guy's
an
funny.
apathetic
Yeah,
smile, like, yeah.
yeah, that's nice." Oh.
Yuck.
Well, we should probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where if people want to like book in or like see what's the programming is, obviously the social media, like you've got Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. Can they reach out through the website? Do you have a website set up?
Yeah, we've got a website. It's artbartheater.com, and that's theater with an RE at the end, not an ER. Some people.
The proper spelling.
Yeah, the proper spelling. And if you're wanting to book the theater space, you can email us at boxoffice@artbartheater.com. And yeah, it's the best way to find out about our rates. And our rates are $150 for a 2-hour time slot, and plus a processing fee for tickets. But yeah, you should come and check it out if you have a band that you don't think you can get more than 100 people to come to, and you don't want to, you know, feel like you're failing at Amigos because you had 50 people show up to your show.
See, and those are my favorite Amigo shows.
Yeah, it's not so packed.
Yeah.
Do you have any big shows coming up you want to promote, or like this will be out in mid-December, so probably like into the new year?
We have we've got a really good show booked for around Valentine's Day. Katie Ellen Humphreys, she's super funny, originally out of Vancouver, and like January is going to be kind of a little bit of a spaghetti on the wall kind of month. We're gonna put it out to producers to try some weird shows, just because January's usually
Slow.
kind of a super slow, like death of a bar kind of month. So we're gonna have fun with it and just have
Get weird with it.
yeah, get weird with it. Maybe do that
Yeah,
that tattoo show that we were talking about, and
that'd be a good time to figure that out for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, mid-December, basically all of ours. We have a really good show on December 26th on Boxing Day. It's Brendan Flaherty. He's a really well-known, well, not well-known as a comic in the city. He's well-known as like a personality and a human. But he's been doing stand-up in Toronto for the last, I don't know, I want to say 7-8 years. And he's really, really funny. He's going to have an awesome show. So if
Boxing
you knew
Day.
who Brendan Flaherty is, go and check him out on Boxing Day. And then on New Year's Eve, we're going to have kind of a speakeasy comedy and drag show. And it's
Cool.
it's going to be comics dressing as drag, and it's going to be fun. There's going to be some drag queens, and it's going to be wild.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, well, check out Art Bar for upcoming shows.
If you don't mind, I got two quick questions.
Okay, sorry.
Hopefully quick. One, like a theme of this podcast so far this year has been like, we've talked about it a couple times, like when you see something you really enjoy, like being sure to like go on Facebook and then comment, be like, man, this thing was really funny, or your photograph is beautiful, whatever it was, just like taking the initiative to like, if you actually enjoyed something, like making that move or whatever, because it's so life-giving to people in the arts and whatever. So I wanted to ask you, not your favorite comic, not the best comic ever, but it's like, is there a comic you've seen in Saskatoon lately in like the last couple months that you just thought it was a great show, and like I said, not your favorite, you don't got to compete, your friends don't got to compete, but just something that you were like, man, you see this guy, go check him out, because that was like a great show? Something that you personally witnessed?
I personally witnessed. We've had so many like great local comics that have been just kind of just you blink and all of a sudden they're good comics. You're like, holy shit! I can't believe that our scene is producing this level of comedy, and I always see them as like their first day, you know, like I'm like, oh, I remember when you sucked or whatever.
Just say like, hey, this person, you were bad.
But we've got some comics that are just killing it in the city, and I'm not going to name names because there's lots of them. So I just implore everyone to go and see some open mics and just see the level of comedy that is in our city, and just local shows. Go check out, if you see that there's a local show somewhere in the city, especially at our bar, come and check it out, because you'll be surprised. You'll be like, oh, that seems like like world class or whatever.
I've only gone out to see comedy shows in Stu a handful of times, like maybe 4 or 5 times, but none of them were bad nights. Like, it was always funny, which was like, and I used to live in Vancouver, and we semi-regularly we'd go to comedy shows because it was a good thing to do. They're always going on, and I had seen a lot of not funny nights, like, and multiple people playing that none of them really landed. So like Saskatoon, I think to me, my experience, personal experience, is it's more consistent kind of. But like, and then my last question, just because I'm personally interested, Art Bar, how'd you get the name? I love the logo. I don't know if that's your like official logo, but I really like that graphic design. How did you guys settle on the name Art Bar?
Well, we really loved Comedy Bar, and we figured that Saskatoon can't really support just a bar that's only comedy.
Oh, okay.
So we're like, okay, well, what's an extrapolation on that, you know, that also puts music and painting and everything. And we're like, art. And so like, and it's symmetrical, and it's like, makes a nice little square. So we settled on Art Bar, and this logo was made by Jaden. God, I forget his name. He's out of Winnipeg. He's our graphic designer. He designed our entire feel for our space, and we really love it. We're selling t-shirt or sweatshirts at Art Bar right now, and we have ones that just say Art Bar, and we have ones that say like comedy is art, or poetry is art, or drag is art. So if you know anyone who is into any kind of art, tell them.
Good Christmas gift.
Yeah, good Christmas gift.
If I ever meet anybody like that, I will let them.
And it's we really love our branding, and we're actually just releasing today an art beer with 9 Mile Brewing.
Oh, cool.
And it's going to be a light lager that's kind of like a domestic light, kind of like a Labatt Light.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
just nice, easy drinking. And
just nice, easy drinking. It's going to be a little bit lower price point, and a little bit lower alcohol by volume than most of our craft beers. And it's also going to, when we get in cans, we're going to have it feature the art of local artists, whoever's on our gallery walls.
Oh, hell yeah.
Will have their art on it, so
that's
it's
awesome.
gonna be really cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you. My questions are.
No, that's okay.
No.
Stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah.
Where something happens, which it does every episode. Not always.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dylan.
Yes,
That was fucking
thanks,
awesome.
guys.
Thanks so much to everybody for watching. We'll catch you on the next episode of the 12 Podcasts of Christmas, edition 11.